right, why don't we begin? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Working with the Career Center to get employers and alumni into the classroom. I'm Christina Bedini, Assistant Director on the Corporate Partner Relations team, as well as a member of the Career Everywhere Committee. Today, I'm joined by Lisa McGuire, Associate Director of Corporate Partner Relations, where together we will provide you, career champions, an overview on how we can help you find employers and alumni for classroom visits. Later in the presentation, we're excited to have career champion Natalia Smirnova, Associate Professor in Residence in Economics, speak with us about the experiences and examples she specifically has with inviting employers into her classroom that will show how employer perspective and insight can complement course objectives. So during this presentation, you will learn a little more about the Corporate Partner Relations team, attain an understanding of the value of employers in the classroom, including examples of previous class visits, gain insight on how employers alumni in the classroom can work for you, and a preview of the quick form for career champions to request employers in the classroom. We encourage engagement during this session, so please feel to unmute yourself or put a question in the chat or comment anytime. So let me begin by introducing Lisa McGuire, who can tell us more about the Corporate Partner Relations team and how we work with employers. Lisa?
Thanks, Christina. Hello, everyone, and thanks for coming. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and we appreciate you for being a career champion, because it is so important and so refreshing to see folks interested in furthering the work and helping our students succeed and take that next step into the next chapter of their lives. So the Corporate Partner Relations team that Christina and I are a part of is a 5-member team that works in the Career Center, working strictly with employers. So we get employer calls all day long, every day, when we make calls out, looking to hire our student talent. We have a ton of it. But one of the things they also want to do is they want to get in front of students, right? They want to give back. They want to pay it forward, whichever way you want to look at it. Many of them are alums. And they are subject matter experts in what they do. It's not always recruiters. Recruiters would be happy to come to your classroom and talk about professional development, but we also get subject matter experts. We've had an economist come who works for a bank. We've had technical science folks come. People from food banks come and talk about supply and demand and need and research. We've had insurance companies that do health insurance talk about the research that they do when they see certain zip codes that have a prevalence of a certain kind of disease. They target that zip code and try and figure out what's the cause of this. Can we determine a cause, and can we help this area? And they'll come and share that with classes and with students. So we have all these amazing things going on out there, and we would love to get some of that information to staff and faculty to share with our students, because we all don't know what we don't know. So today's session is to talk about how to do that, right? So how to ask us, the 5 of us who are divided up regionally across the country, and that we're not necessarily divided by discipline or industry, but more geography, and how to find some speakers that fit your curriculum. We're not asking anyone to change anything or bring in a recruiter that's going to spend an hour of your time or your class's time or 5 minutes of your time just pitching, you should work for XYZ company because it's an amazing place to work. That's not what we're asking. We're asking, do you have an opportunity, if you're interested, in bringing in a subject matter expert? And Christina's going to go over the actual formal process and the form, which I hope is very easy for you. But we're also very open to feedback and any kind of information you have and feedback that you have. We're very open because our goal is to help students find opportunities. And yeah, we all know what engineers do and nurses do. Do we necessarily know that a traveler's insurance company is looking for geology majors? Maybe we don't. maybe these are opportunities to find out things like that. So thanks again. And Christina, if you want to take us through the formal process, and I use that in air quotes because it's not that formal and it's not that onerous. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, Lisa, so much. Does anyone have any questions before I begin? Okay. So as career champions, we know you're intentionally infusing career development into the UConn student experience. And we know Career Everywhere provides access and equity to career development for all students, including underrepresented and marginalized populations. So employers visiting the classroom is just yet another way to further the Career Everywhere mission. And we're here to help to make those connections, as Lisa mentioned. So let me show you a preview of the form, and it is a quick form, and I'm going to go through it, and please feel free to ask questions along the way. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah, I see you shaking your head, Lisa. Okay, great. So you'll be receiving this link to this form. We'll be sending it out at the beginning of each semester, and it will also sit on our Career Champion resource page. Once you fill it out, the Corporate Partner Relations team and the Career Everywhere will be notified and will review your responses. This form goes out to Career Champions, faculty and staff, as well as Career Champion employers. So this is what it looks like. We're going to ask your name and email address and phone number, but as a UConn staff or faculty member, this will be pre-populated. Employers would just have to fill this out. So you fill this out, and then I'm going to go through the faculty form first. So as we mentioned, whether for career advice, industry trends, a subject matter expert, or learning more about a specific company or organizations, employers are ready and willing to share information with your students. So members of the Center for Career Development will vet them to ensure they understand your needs, then connect them directly with you for further clarification and details. In order for us to find that match, we're going to ask you to fill out this form. And if we're able to find a connection, we will be in touch and you'll hear from us. So we ask, what academic department do you teach? And we recognize that you may want different employers, different topics, different industry in different classes. So you get to choose which class, how many classes you're requesting an employer. So I'm just going to do one for now, but if you click two, you'll just fill out the same information. Here we ask your class subject, the catalog number, the section, which campus you, now that we're back on campus, we do want to know which campus you're on, because if you want an employer in person or virtual, that could be an option. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. The days in class, the days your class meets, and the time. And then we just want to know a little more about what you're looking for. So we want to know, what industry are you seeking an employer to visit your class? So is it internet and software, healthcare, commercial banking, real estate, education? Give us a little information if there's a specific industry you're looking for. If there's a specific company or organization that you would like to come to your class, although we cannot guarantee it, please put that down. Like Lisa mentioned, we talk to employers all the time and we outreach. So indicate that. We will try our best to fit that need, although again, not guaranteed. So that's where you would put it. Finally, what information would you like employers to be able to share with your students? So that's where you'll be able to go into a little more detail on what you're looking for. Then going back to when I asked about campus, if you want the employer to come in person to the classroom or virtually. We do work with employers nationally. So for example, I'm here on the Stanford campus and I work with employers in New York metro area. So if you're open to having an employer in New York City who may not be able to come up to the campus, but does wants to connect, and you're open to virtual, pick virtual. Not to say that a New York employer won't come up to stores, but just know that you have that option. If you're open to those options, just pick either one. And that's the last option. And finally, the last question we ask is if there's any other information that would be helpful for the Career Everywhere team to know about your request. So for example, if you indicate an industry or an information and you're specific there, although you're also open to more ideas or open to other organizations, put that information in that last question there. Or again, any other information that you think would be helpful for us to make that match, just go fill it in there. And that's it. We just ask you to submit. This information, like I said, will come to the Corporate Partner Relations team, and the Career Everywhere team will review it. And once we find an employer that is appropriate for your match, we'll reach out to you first. So please know the Center for Career Development will be reaching out to you first. We're not going to automatically make that match because we kind of want to talk to you a little more about that. Make sure that we got it right. So there may be a little back and forth with us to make sure that you approve this employer to connect with. And then we'll make the connection. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but do we have any employers on this call? Well, I'll just quickly show you if you're interested, if there aren't any employers. We do ask the employers, Career Champion employers, to fill out this form as well. So the employer is going to be asked the name of their organization, of course, their title. We're asking them if they're a UConn alum. And we're asking the employer what industry or area can they speak about with students, and what specific information they would like to share with the students. We're also asking the employer if there's a specific class level that they would like to get in front of, and if they have any specific major that they would like to connect with. So we'll be collecting that information. And this is where we'll ask the employer if they're able to come onto campus. And if they do choose in person, we give them the option to come to any of the campus, and they are able to choose all if they choose to, if they want virtually, or again, if either works for them. And then we do ask the employer as well if there's any other information for them to give us before we go ahead and make the match. So that's just a sneak preview of what the employer side looks like. And that's the faculty. Does anyone have any questions? I'm just going to stop sharing so I could see you all. Okay.
Christina, you did have a question on the form. I know it's not quite available yet, but it will be sent to everyone and then it will sit on the Career Champions page, correct?
Yes, actually, yes. So by attending this session, the follow-up email will be sent to you and you'll get a link to the form so you could start filling it out. You could think about this semester. I know the semester is almost over. It feels like it just flew by. So you're welcome if you're interested in coming for that semester, and you could indicate that on that last question. That's another answer you could put when we ask, is there any information that we should know? You could put that, well, I'm looking for spring 2022. Or you could start for next fall. But yes, you will get the email. It will be emailed out at the beginning of each semester, and it will sit on the Career Champion resource page.
And I would also add that in addition to asking you if you'd like a specific industry, maybe you don't have a preference. Maybe there's an industry, like my examples on insurance companies, that you don't know. You are welcome to add something like what a geology major might be interested in, or a role for HDFS students, because we can work with you on that too. We are open to literally anything. We will do our best to make a match, and I'll go out on a limb and say that 95% of the time, if not more, we will find somebody for you or give you a few options. There's going to be one we can't, so I'm not going to say all the time, but because if you ask us to get somebody, the chief of diversity for Google to come in, I can't guarantee that, although we do have a UConn alum who that's her role, but I can't guarantee something like that. But I can pretty much assure you that we can meet most of your requests. We have literally thousands of employers in the Handshake database and have access to those employers. So we would love to help you complement your curriculum. So I see there's a question. Second.
Hi, Christina, Lisa. Thank you so much for this information. Lisa actually answered my question a little bit. My question was about the consultation following this form. And what I wondered is, I'm in the English department, and my question was like, can you customize this to, say, specifically to English majors? You know, what are some of the typical industries the English majors get hired, and or employers who are looking for like good communication writing skills?
And I would add to this presentation or in the classroom that we'll be happy to talk to you about doing something outside of your classroom. So for your English majors example, we would love to partner with you and have a panel of former English students, English alum who are doing all different things and present here are the plethora of things that English majors have done coming out of UConn. Here are all very different jobs that English majors are doing. As long as we partner with you, we'd love to do it. We don't want to do those presentations on our own because we don't have the bandwidth to get the students, right? You have the students' attention. So if you do it with us and give us some guidance, we would love to do that. We have employers who want English majors all the time, and we have alums who are doing, they're editing for Houghton Mifflin, and they're writing technical journals, and they're doing all different things. We would love to do that anytime.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. And then you answered my other question. My other question was like, can we do a version of this with the graduates who work in various industries?
Yeah.
So yeah, it will probably be best to do this as part of the class, although it will be, of course, open to all of our majors.
Yeah,
but that's something that I'm hoping to perhaps do for the fall semester. So that sounds great.
I love it. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you.
I did a one-off on that exact thing. Sorry, Christina.
No,
with a student it was just one student who just happened to reach out and say, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think he was an English major. He might have been a history major, but I think it was English. And so I just invited him to lunch with 6 different former English majors who were doing 6 different things. And we just peppered the poor student with all these things. Well, I do this, and this is how I got there, and this is what, but it was awesome, so we're happy to do it.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I already have a few majors in mind too, so perhaps we can do something.
Super.
That's great.
Thank you. Sorry, Christina.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions or ideas that are stirring in their head right now that they want to talk about? Maybe everyone else can learn from what you're thinking about, and there may be some collaboration, or again, it could spark some ideas for their own classrooms before we bring in Natalia on in a couple of minutes.
And we're looking for any ideas, any kind of opportunities for employers to come and share. Like I said, there are so many non-traditional or new or just unknown opportunities to put every degree to work. And we just don't know. I sat with someone who said, I know, an academic advisor, I have hundreds of math students, and I just don't know where they can go beyond teaching math. And it's limitless, especially in CLAS. It is literally limitless on where students can go, but who knows about it, right?
Exactly.
Not many people.
So as I mentioned, the process is really simple. So you'll fill out that form, and again, it'll be passed over to our team, and you will be hearing from one of us. So if it's Lisa, me, Christina, Gabby Comella, Chrysalibes, Mary Malverba, we will reach out to you personally, directly, and let you know who we're thinking of, who has responded to this inquiry, and we'll work with you before introducing you to the employer. We do go first to our employer career champions. So as you know, the career champion is alumni, faculty, staff, and employers. We are constantly getting new employers part of the Career Champion program because they are panelists, they are presenters in our programming via the Career Center. They come to our career fairs. They come to events on our regional campuses. So they are our career champions as well. So we are going to reach out to them first and see if there's a connection. But we do have a larger database. So please know, we'll indicate that when we reach out to you, to your request, if this person's a career champion or not. And we'll tell you whatever information that you need before we make that match. So please feel free to be open in our communication after we reach out to your request. Let us know things that you're thinking about. And then once you agree to that employer, we will go ahead with an e-introduction. And that will be an opportunity for you to connect with the employer and talk a little more on the specifics and the details on what your plan is. And that could be any way that you want. You could a phone call, a Teams meeting. We really flip it over to you to handle that part of it. If you need any help, again, that career CPR person, corporate partner relations person can be there to help. But we do pass it on to you to take it from there. Does anyone have questions about that part?
If I could just add to that, the reason we're not trying to add to your work, but the reason we want to hand it to you is us getting in the middle, too much translation in between. So we want to understand it, find some good prospects, talk to you, broker the exchange, but then hand it off to you, because we really don't want to be the middleman and then have you be disappointed or them be disappointed. This is your class, your group. It just leads to one layer that is really literally unnecessary. And we've had it before where, we thought the employer was going to say this and then we thought the professor wanted that. And there was a disconnect because of the middleman, and it wasn't anybody's fault, but that's why we do it. And we are, to Christina's point, we are happy to do whatever we can to help. I just want us to step out at that last stage so that everybody's clear on expectations.
And after we reach out to you, we'll also be reaching out to the employer to clarify anything that we see on their form that we may need more information on after we do speak to the faculty or staff member. So we are the middle person there, clarifying, and once we get the okay on both sides to connect, we will go ahead and do that. So that's the process. We want to keep it seamless and easy as possible for you.
Any
Steve,
other questions?
Yeah, if I can just jump in quickly,
Yeah.
just to kind of add to the use of employers. So I'm Steve Kligerman. I'm a career consultant in the School of Fine Arts Liaison. And over the course of the past year, we have put on 3 panels, and one is actually next week as well, where we have had anywhere from 2 to 4 employers and or alumni sit on those panels to really share their stories and experiences with our students. And it has really been a fantastic way for students to connect with alumni and just hear their story. And I think a huge part of that has just been asking those alumni to kind of share about some of their challenges and failures too. I think that's one thing that sometimes our students see an employer or see an alumni, they hear about what they're doing, how successful they are. And I think sometimes it can be hard to, picture themselves doing that within 5 years or 10 years or whatever it may be. So having had the opportunity within those panels to say, what were the challenges? What were the times where you said, this isn't what I want to do at all, I need to change gears? And I think students have been super responsive to that. And so I think that's been a great addition to being able to use alumni. And then as part of those as well, we offer just the ability to virtually over Zoom network with whatever alum that they wanted after the event. And we heard some really impactful things in terms of, students feeling kind of similar to what I was just mentioning of a little bit lost. What are the next steps? And then all it took was 5 to 7 minutes of networking on Zoom after the event, and the student had, an entirely different perspective on what they wanted to do, or, some additional confidence in terms of what their next steps were. And so, I am a huge supporter of using alumni and employers within either the classroom, or certainly putting together panels like that, because it's something that I think has been a huge benefit for those students. And I'm super excited about our panel next week, which is School of Fine Arts Alumni Entrepreneurs. So specifically talking about the business side of what they do within the fine arts. So just wanted to add that piece.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. You bring up a great point about follow-up. So you always have that opportunity to connect the student with the employer after the presentation if the student comes to you and expresses an interest on learning more about that person. So great opportunity for them to do an information interview with that person, or connect on LinkedIn, or just learn a little more about them and their organization. So yeah, the follow-up is also a great opportunity to keep furthering the mission of Career Everywhere. So it's really exciting. Does anyone have any other questions or ideas or comments about the new Employers in the Classroom program?
Christina, I have one more question. As I was listening to Steve, would it be helpful for faculty perhaps to listen to or attend one of the upcoming panels if they are virtual? Would that be something perhaps that would be available, so that faculty, if they've never had this experience before, they could perhaps observe or listen to it at least?
That's a wonderful idea, and thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely, they could learn also the format and see the information that's being exchanged. Yeah, we could get that out in the email to get those events out to you. They are virtual, most of them, and if they're in person, we'll indicate that as well. But thank you for sharing that idea. I love it.
I think a lot of our events are posted in the Career Champions newsletter and stuff. So there we go. Steve put in the next week's panel information. But I think we do share most of these events with the Career Champions. So you are welcome to attend any event, any career fair, anything we do, we welcome Career Champions to attend.
You can also indicate that on your form too, if you're open to this idea, but need ideas, and you want to be very general on the form, that will spark us to reach out to you and talk a little more about options out there. So that's really the purpose of that last question at the end, is to just get more ideas flowing back and forth and to see where you are at with this. So a great idea. Thank you. Any other questions?
I know we're very excited for our next guest to come, and I'm sure she's going to pop in any second now. But to give you an idea of a faculty member who's done this successfully. So we're really excited to have our next speaker, Natalia, share with you sort of the value of it and her personal experience. So that's what but the poor thing is teaching a whole straight block and asked us if she could pop in a little bit into the presentation so that she could get a bite to eat. I'm sure many of you can relate to that, but she should be here any minute.
Here on the Stanford campus, where I sit, and Natalia does as well, I've heard her talk about employers that she's invited into the classroom and the follow-up. She writes blogs about it, which she's going to share with you, and how it really aligns with her course objectives. And it's going to be nice to get an insight from someone who's already been doing this and have done it before, about this program. And here we go. Hello, Dr. Natalia Smirnova. How are you? Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, hello. Hello, everyone. So is it me right now?
Yes, welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen, right, with my presentation here. And okay, yeah, share. Okay, so wait a minute, I need to get out of this. Okay, do you see my presentation or no, right? You don't
We
see it.
see it, it's not in presentation mode.
Right, so hold on, but I now even, okay, here I see it myself now. Okay, hold on, and I'm going to make it presentation mode. Okay, you see it now?
Perfect,
Good.
thank you.
All right, okay, guys, so I'm Natalia Smirnova. I am assistant professor in residence at the Stanford campus at the economics department. So the Center for Career Development asked me to talk about my work with the employers and alumni. So I want to just first start, maybe before I move the slides, say that I personally, my personal story as an immigrant student at UConn in 1990s, I really therefore appreciate the difficulty that is faced by students, especially in Stanford, but in general, immigrant students, first generation students, or students that don't have a network of maybe parents, also network of professionals who can help them understand the importance of steps to take towards their career goals. So, and therefore I really feel in my heart that I would like students to at least have some exposure to the careers that they might be pursuing, and they're in my class, and I just want to give them some flair of those careers and those professionals that they can help. So as a scientist, I kind of want to also put it, that's my story, but now this is actual science, that as I started working with Career Development Center, I became a career champion. So through that work also, I learned as a scientist, I learned a lot of scientific research based on different surveys and other scientific instruments that were employed by various associations. In this case, this is National Career Leadership Collective, which is doing National Alumni Career Mobility Surveys. And so I was impressed and surprised to learn that there is scientific evidence, empirical evidence that shows that, look, receiving helpful career advice during an undergraduate degree is actually contributes to satisfaction and also encourages career satisfaction and community engagement. It's like, oh my goodness. And then also what this particular collective is telling us, that then colleges and universities should ensure that helpful career advice not left to chance, but rather embedded in the very nature of the experience. So of course we have the Center for Career Development. They do a lot of programmatic things for our students, like career fairs and resume writing and whatever. They have a lot of information, but what it seems the students are hard to reach, and one of the opportunity to reach them through our classes. Okay, so I am doing kind of my part into embed that career thing into their classroom experience. Okay, so also there are National Association of College and Employers also developed 8 competencies for career readiness. So let's quickly, but still read these competencies. And as I'm reading it, you will see that actually we are doing all of this in our classes. The point is just kind of now wrap it around for students to understand that actually if they're writing a paper, they also progressing towards their career goals. Okay, so competence are the following: career and self-development, communication, right? So presentation of the paper or a project presentation, communication skill here, critical thinking, equity and inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, and technology. So like, for example, even now, I just came from a class, I'm econometrics class. So here we'll do a lot of teamwork, we'll do technology, right? We're using a startup, statistical software. Communication, they're doing presentation. Critical thinking, they're actually solving a big problem. So now the integration of this competence into your course, that kind of what I'm here to talk about, I guess. All right, I also try to say that I'm not that good yet. I'm just learning, but we should, in our syllabus, I'm trying to align these objectives, my course objective, to those competencies. And what I learned at some of the program I participate in with Career Development Center is that it's really easy. You just when you have your learning objectives for the course, then underneath that objective, for example, learn economic modeling, right? Then you will put, okay, so what is the skill that will be delivered through that learning objective that will comply with the career competency? So here I can say it's a quantitative skill, right? Or Excel skill or whatever. So in fact, it could be many career competencies encompassed in one career objective for your course. Okay, so but what I want to really talk about is that, so then I kind of took a kind of a view and say, okay, so how can I also bring those, you see, professionalism and work ethics, how I can showcase that. And so with that, therefore, I started inviting various professional people to my classes. And it's, of course, they take time. So usually I do just one person, one visit per semester for a course. And so I divided now it's in two groups. One is alumni and another employers. So these are kind of examples, but you can work, if you know, like I also before UConn, I worked in the professional world, so I have some connections there. But you can also start with the Career Development Center and Foundation, UConn Foundation, because they are on their part, they're really looking to now integrate, to reach to alumni, to integrate them, to bring them back to UConn for whatever reasons, fundraising reasons, or to just connect to the community. So if you work with the, okay, so let me just say, so if you work with the Career Development Center, you're really kind of, they will help you to identify those individuals. So going back here, so for example, these two, the alumni that are listed here, Anne Lopez and Saif Suyed, I actually met them through a panel. We were doing actually two panels that we were doing last year. So I didn't know them, but through participating in this kind of activities, I saw them. So for example, very interesting, just one example. So Anne Lopez is a writer, but she had an economics major at UConn. So she graduated with economic major and then she switched to writing. So then you kind of basically approach those interesting people and say, can you come to my class and talk about writing? And so we then, after that, we collaborated with Anne and she created, okay, so go here, see that then you would work with that person that you like, or that you feel that matching those learning objectives for you, right? And for example, I said, well, it will be great if she, as a professional writer, can tell students, first of all, how to write. And so she created for me 2 videos. In fact, if you can share, like Christina or whatever, you can share with attendees this presentation later on, because I have here links to blogs or whatever. So anyway, so she created motivational videos, and then so I use it in my online class. But then this semester she came virtually to my class and she talked about, the students want to know, why did she switch from economics to, you know, so that is whole your professional development kind of to tell students that not necessarily straight career path, right? So here this Saif Suyed, on the other hand, this is a gentleman who works in Goldman Sachs. So exactly like matching this, some of the aspirations of my students to be you know, in finance industry. So when he came, so of course I wanted him to do Excel, which he did. That showed what Excel they're using at Goldman Sachs, which was really helpful. But then half of the class, he was just talking to students. They asked certain questions like, how do you get the position of Goldman Sachs? Like what to do. And so actually now some of the students continue with me, and I actually connected to Saif and then connected to some network of financial industry professional. That's what exactly I was lacking when I came to this country. And I think also students are liking this kind of support or mentorship that could be, and it's from one one visit to class. Now, several students who are interested, not all of them, right? But at least you help one or two, that's great. Okay, and so that's alumni. And then here I have employers. So for employers too, so look at this, Andy Huff is a fact set representative. So how it came about, we have a fact set, it's a database in the library. So I want my students to use it for a project. So as I was trying students to learn the fact set, I invited that fact set representative, Andy, to my class, and she presented kind of idea how to use the database. But then she's also presented opportunities for students at FactSet in terms of internships, in terms also, I didn't know, but they have some kind of ambassador program. They also have certification. So they come and then they give so much more than I just wanted her to give me how to enter that database. And so therefore kind of how I go about it. So therefore, so first you approach the Career Development Center because they can set you up, or you have your own kind of network of people whom you can invite. So then you have to also work with them and tell them what you want them to bring. Because remember that writing person, I want her to bring the writing thing. For the Goldman Sachs, I want him to look at Excel. For FactSet, so, and then, but also for these guys, for example, Slalom. That was Career Development Center say, hey, we have this company, they're eager to come. I said, sure, let them come. So then they talk about also Slalom is a local company. And another thing that when we work with Career Development Center, they work with the local people, because the jobs are here. So that's kind of now these guys came and I want them to talk about what is it, how to get a job there, how to prepare yourself to work in their consulting firm. Right, so they created the whole chart about consulting, which was interesting to students, not only for Slalom, but now they understand because they told me, oh, I didn't know what was consulting. Now I know what consulting was. So therefore, here they kind of all this, it's mixing together, this whole integrating their knowledge, my learning objectives, and students, we're helping students kind of just learn what is out there. Okay, so you work with them to tell them kind of what you want them to say, kind of to what aspect, not what to say, but what aspect you want them to show. And then you have to host them. So when they come to class, you have to meet them and kind of, or if online, you have to set up. And then also you have to feel as a guide, like you want to first prepare some questions. So you start that conversations because students are sometimes shy, but then as they warm up, actually, then you cannot shut them up. They start for example, the time is up and the people want to leave, but students are still asking. So they really interested. And then also what I also, of course, you need to follow up as usual professionally. So I write a thank you email, but then I like writing a blog. So what it does is, first of all, it's for me, it's like my portfolio of things. I have it written down. So also for me, I give it to the department. So they put it on the blog for us. So they also put it on LinkedIn or whatever department does. So kind of it's one of the opportunity to share what department is doing, right? And then when you share the blog with those guests, now they're very excited. Like, for example, Anne told me, oh my God, I put it on my social media. I tagged whatever is then tagging something. So, and they're appreciative. Like Andy also said, well, for them, it's also kind of good to show that they are out there and they're connected to us. So, so that's cool. And that's it. That's my presentation. So please, questions. I'm eager to ask questions, answer questions, and there's some chat. So what is, parking? Oh, yes.
If I may,
yes, go ahead. Yes.
If I may, I can ask a question. Yes. Hi, Natalia. Thank you so much for this. We're at the Stanford campus, both of us, by the way. I walk by your office every time I'm on campus. I'll say hi in person too at some point.
Okay.
My question is, can you tell us about the course in which you hosted these alumni/employers, and how did you dovetail their visit with your class material and pedagogy, and what class was that?
Okay, all right, so hold on. So for example, okay, so I think you also said Saif, you had in your class, right, Saif? Okay, so Saif came to the class which is called Money and Banking. So, right, Money and Banking, so again, he is in banking. So, and then in that class particular, so first of all, of course, the topic of money banking, so we can talk about that. But when I worked with him, I asked him to talk about what Excel or how he uses Excel in his actual work. Because in my class, in part of the class, we're also doing some present value, right, or some kind of valuation of bonds. And so we learn some present value commands, or like we use Excel to like create a graph, very simple. But so therefore I said, okay, so guys, because I'm really encouraging them to do Excel, because you know, and so now I wanted him to say, yes, we are using Excel in Goldman Sachs. And this pivot table, he was talking about pivot tables, which we don't use it, but he kind of came and said, I can show them in 10 minutes, it's really easy. So he brought his he got his data, whatever, and then just show how to do it. And students, some of them are following, but then of course at some point they just cannot follow. It's kind of too fast, or he's not doing it like step by step. He just kind of, all right, that's what I do. That's what I. But the point was that they, first of all, they got the point. My learning objective was that you have to know some Excel, at least how to open it, you know, how to do something like simple things, because you will be working with it. You're not going to be working with R or Python, maybe when you be in that particular position, you know. So, so that was good. So that's what he did. And then afterwards, I said, then it was open questions, and majority of questions now, that's integration, right? So the students were interested about how to get the job there. Oh, also they were actually interested, what was your day-to-day like day looks like when are you doing Excel, when are you doing something else, or what is it actually, he is an investment day, you know, like analyst or whatever. So also how is career trajectory. So he also talked about how he was from UConn Stanford graduate, so how he looked for a job, and I now forgot, but I think he was something first, he got some other job, but then he was really persistent and like showed students different like networks, that this network on Wall Street or something. So he shared really ideas how they can be him. So that's like one thing. And then say for maybe I want, you see, I kind of want this writing class to showcase the writing class, because this content writer lady, so in writing, like our students are struggling with writing. Especially in my class, they are writing a scientific paper in economics. So they're struggling to come from, they probably wrote history paper, they probably wrote English paper, but now they want to do introduction, literature review, data, methodology, analysis. So they're like overwhelmed with this whole thing, especially literature review. Oh, I have to read 10 articles, yes, and I have to read scientific publications. So they're just struggling with that whole, it's a lot of work, which is different than we did before. So when I invited Anne, I said, Anne, you just need to tell them that writing is hard, because they think it's them. They're struggling because something wrong with them or something. But now she is telling me, well, first of all, no, we're all struggling. It's very hard to write in general. She was giving them tips like, okay, if you're stuck, like go for a walk, you know, or like, you know, or keep thinking about it for some time. Don't think that you will today in 5 minutes you will finish the literature review. It's like it's a process, which is a long process, and it's okay to struggle. So so anyway, so that was again, alignment was that I have a professional writer. Then also, of course, she talked about what she does, because they didn't understand what it means, content writer. But basically, she is writing content for websites and blogs for companies, or you know, some writing pieces. But she also is doing kind of because she has economics education, economics major, so she's able to look at some economic environment or financial analysis of a firm and put it into words, right? So kind of in a way, I kind of thought also she was helpful for the students who are not maybe quantitative, but they are economics majors, and they might be seeing like something in writing will be maybe good for them. And another thing she actually said, that first she wasn't just analyst, I think also in some financial firms, she was an analyst, but she said, I understood that writing came easy to me and everyone was asking me for help. So then, like, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm good in writing. And then how she progressed, and in 2010, she then quit and created her own company on writing. So that's kind of that's, I guess, my answer to your question. What level was the, oh yeah. So the course, okay, so I have 3,000. These are 3, well, money in banking was 2,000 level, and this writing is 3,000 level. So again, students like higher level, I ask them to do more, and that's how it goes. Okay, all right. Right, so any other, but so my main advice is to just work with the career people, because then they can help you out to select this. Like, you can kind of say, I want whatever is computer science or whatever, right? So can I computer science? Like, I want computer science alumni, I want like some, you know, and then you will work with them. And these are all kind of like out of the blue, you know, like, it's just, it's not my friends or anything. Just one more thing. So this Jeff, actually, so then one class, because it was such a good, this slalom people were so good. So I have a student, she said, well, you know what, I have a boss, my boss wants to come, because, you know, they're working, right? And when I guess they're sharing what they're learning. And so this Jeff was actually like out of the blue. I said, okay, come. And yeah. So he told them a lot of, because he's career consultant, so he told them a lot of hints about how to apply, how to, so anyway, so it's actually very helpful. Yeah. Okay, so I guess time is up, right?
Thank you, Natalia. No, this was wonderful. We really appreciate you coming on. Does anyone have any other questions for Natalia? It was so helpful, I'm sure, to get it from your perspective, Natalia, and your experience with having employers in the classroom. And, you know, Sirkin brought up something earlier on if he could join in other events that are happening with the Career Center so he could learn a little more. And that's how you met Saif, right? You just mentioned, I forgot the name of the panel he was on with us here in Stanford.
It was Diverse Career Path.
Yes. And then we hosted that together, and by Natalia being part of that, she was able to bring Saif into the classroom. So Sirkin, your idea is wonderful. And I think that's something that we could definitely let others know about.
Yeah, that sounds great. And maybe Natalia, next time you host one, I can be there in person too, just to listen in on it.
Right. But also, guys, I also recommend participating in those career ambassador program, different career events, because that's how you're learning what they're doing. You know, like this syllabus thing I just learned a couple of weeks ago about syllabus learning objective, and then you put the professional objective there. So kind of, it's cool, because I just feel, again, as I told at the beginning, my story is, I feel that students need some kind of new help. They need help with the professional thing. So I think if I can just do something small for them, that's good.
That's wonderful, Natalia. And it's not small, it's huge. And thank you so much for presenting today. Okay, so does anyone have any questions for me, Lisa, or Natalia before we wrap up? Yeah, Lisa wrote that in the chat. If they do come on campus, it will just talk to us. Great. Okay, so with that said, we want to thank you all for joining us today. And thank you for your interest in having employers come into the classroom. As I mentioned, a follow-up in email, we will send you the link to invite employers into the classroom. Again, it'll come to us, and then we will be in touch. All righty. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Stop recording. Can we stop?